In the headlines, hoodlums kill POS operator, cart away 4 million naira. Gunmen kidnap ex-NMA secretary's son in Ogun State. Stakeholders converge in Abuja to dialogue towards a unified Nigeria. And away from Nigeria, bomb explodes during Pakistani Shahid procession, killing at least 3. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Update. I am Dashan Hosseina Usman. For more news, connect with us on our social media platforms. And now the news in detail. Operatives of Ogun State Police Command have arrested 4 members of a syndicate who allegedly robbed a POS operator, Abiodun Odebumi, of 4 million naira and later killed him and burned his corpse. They were arrested following a complaint lodged at Onigbanu Divisional Headquarters on the 18th of April 2021 by one Anu Salahuddin. Police spokesman CSP Femi Olabode led a homicide team embarked on a technical and intelligence-based investigation which led them to Otun Ekiti in Ekiti State, where the suspects were discovered to be hibernating. In the same vein, a son to a former National Secretary of the Nigerian Medical Association, Dr. Adewumi Alayaki, has been abducted by gunmen in Ogun State. According to reports, Adedamola's abductors have demanded 20 million naira ransom. It's gathered that he was kidnapped on his father's farm at Ishaga Orile Community, Abeokuta North Local Government Area of Ogun State. The State Police Public Relations Officer, Abimbola Oyeyemi, confirmed the incident to newsmen Thursday morning. According to him, Adedamola is the manager of one of his father's firms. The anti-vandalism team of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps has arrested 4 suspects with adulterated petroleum products in Anambra. Vincent Ogu, the state commandant of NSCDC, made this known to newsmen on Thursday in Awka. Ogu said the 4 suspects were picked up following credible intelligence from different locations between July 26th and August 5th. Ogu warned those involved in illegal businesses to desist from it as their act is bleeding Nigeria's economy. The new Commissioner of Police in Kaduna, Mudashiru Abdullahi, has called for peaceful coexistence among various communities in the state. This is contained in a statement issued by Public Relations Officer ASP Muhammad Jalige on Thursday in Kaduna. Abdullahi made the call when he visited Zangon Kataf, Kagoru, and Jama'a local government areas. The commissioner said peace remains paramount in every society if there will be any meaningful development. He also assured the chiefdoms of deployment of more security personnel in order to curb the recent upsurge in communal disputes within the area and villages. The commissioner further warned all those disturbing the communities to desist from taking laws into their hands because they are constituted authorities responsible for handling their grievances. The Kaduna State government has directed all secondary schools in the state to reopen for junior secondary school students to enable them sit for the National Examination Council certificates. The examination is scheduled to hold from August 23rd to September 6th, 2021. The directive was issued on Wednesday by the State Commissioner of Education, Shehu Muhammad, who also asked the students not to come to school in their uniforms, but to appear in mufti during the duration of the examination. The government had, on the advice of security agencies, suspended resumption of schools indefinitely due to rising cases of kidnap in the state. You're watching Trust TV News Updates. Coming up after the break, President Muhammadu Buhari ratifies international coffee agreement. Do stay with us.
My name is Samuel Dada.
Yakubu Isa, ana mana da jeji.
Aminu Musa.
Looking for private jobs. Sometimes you get employed and the process of payment, you undergo some kind of stress.
Get latest updates on current topical issues and breaking news by downloading the TrustTV mobile app on your Android devices. Go online, click Google Play Store, search TrustTV, install the app, and get doses of unfiltered information on happenings all over the world in your pocket. TrustTV, documenting the Nigerian story. Thanks for staying. You're still watching Trust TV News Update. Here's a recap of our top stories. You heard that operatives of Ogun State Police Command have arrested 4 members of a syndicate who allegedly robbed a POS operator, Abiodun Odebumi, of 4 million naira, then later killed him and burned his corpse. Plus, son of former National Secretary of Medical Association, Dr. Adewumi Alayaki, was abducted by gunmen in Ogun State. Still in the news, Kano State Governor Abdullahi Ganduje says he has not instated anyone for political office come 2023, contrary to media reports. Speaking exclusively to Trust TV, Governor Ganduje says time will come when situations reveal his successor. Trust TV correspondent Idris Jibrin reports.
Ahead of the 2023 general elections, posters of candidates with various aspirations are already becoming a common sight in the politically sensitive Kano State. While taking advantage of this, both social and some mainstream news organizations are reporting what the governor called fake news.
To read on newspapers is not true. It was a mischief, and people of Kano know that we have not anointed anybody to be as a gubernatorial candidate or senatorial candidate or any position or any elected position.
For the governor, what is more important at the moment is to further ensure meaningful and sustainable development, maintain the existing peace and unity, as well as to ensure justice and equality before the law.
We are more concerned in governance up to the time when INEC will come up with a timetable for election. But in democracy, you can always have that kind of things to happen, especially with fake news, with misjudgment because of mischief and certain things like that. So I assure you, we are all intact. All those who would like to contest for election, as far as we are concerned, they are all good politicians of the party.
On the issue of the national leadership of the APC, Governor Ganduje argued that his party is not in crisis and that the current leadership is only a normal temporary structure before the party's national congress.
You see, it's a temporary leadership, as the name suggests. So they are not there to stay for long. It's a matter of a few months that they will remain. And if our lawyers find it convenient, according to the constitution of our party and according to the constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. If we find that whatever we have done, we can redo it again.
Meanwhile, Governor Ganduje called on politicians to play their game with sanity and in accordance with the law, which will in effect lead to a desired success. Idris Jubrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
President Muhammadu Buhari confirmed and ratified the International Coffee Agreement 2007 following the Federal Executive Council approval of Nigeria's membership of the International Coffee Organization. Malam Garba Shehu, Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, confirmed this in a statement on Thursday in Abuja. The President's spokesman added that the agreement would also promote a sustainable coffee economy for the benefit of all stakeholders, particularly of small-scale farmers in coffee-producing countries. He said the instrument of ratification is prepared by the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami. As President Buhari meets with service chiefs for a security meeting, internally displaced persons in Maiduguri have called the government to adopt peace, truce, and dialogue with surrendered and repentant Boko Haram members. The recent surrender of over 1,000 insurgents in Monguno and Bama local government areas has sparked reactions in some quarters. The campaign of Boko Haram began 12 years ago, and unending attacks has claimed thousands of lives and displaced many in the northeast. Lately, the counteroffensive with the military has forced some Boko Haram members to surrender in Borno State. Mariam Mustafa is an internally displaced person in Madinatu camp. The mother of 4 lost 2 of her siblings during an invasion by insurgents in Mafa local government. She escaped from death to seek shelter in Maiduguri. For her, the news of the newly surrendered Boko Haram members is a welcome idea as long as their integration into society will not breach peace. She urges the government to back its surrender claims with peace, truce, and dialogue.
Amsan da ya bari shi ne dumana ba za mu yi abin da ya fita ko me da abin da ya faɗa shi ba za mu wuce gaban shi. Shawaran da ina in dai zan ba su in dai abin yayi kam ko in za a bar su su shiga in za mu samu zaman lafiya kan shi ke mu zaman lafiya ne bukata.
The Boko Haram federal government and state government and local government accepting them is very, very good idea. The only thing state government and local government to focus on federal government for unadvised, if they want the country to move forward, definitely check their environment where the Boko Haram are going to stay, number 1. Give them full security because it's the people long period of time ago, they are not inside the people. There are people that they can go to one side and plan another thing because we are new global internet. They can plan their thing against through internet. They can plan their thing, their meeting through handset. Not be like before they can gather inside bush, do their meeting somewhere, go and attack.
As the president meets with service chiefs on Thursday, Mariam and other internally displaced persons will only hope that peace will be a reason for them to return to their communities and rebuild their lives. E-hailing drivers in the Federal Capital Territory have decried the alleged harassment and extortion by street touts and sometimes members of the National Union of Road Transport Workers. According to one of the drivers, the lack of synergy between the e-hailing drivers and members of regulatory bodies is affecting the flow of business. Chijoke Okafo tells us the story.
Uber and Bolt started operations in Nigeria in 2014 and 2016, respectively. As of 2018, Uber had about 9,000 drivers on its app in the country, while Bolt had about 10,000 drivers. Uber charges drivers a commission of 25%, while Bolt charges 20%. In general, there are about 20 players in the e-hailing business in Nigeria. But of recent, the e-hailing drivers community have made claims that their members are being targeted by regulatory bodies and many of their drivers' cars are being impounded. We meet up with Abba Adiko, a Bolt driver, and he shares his experience with us.
These people, they will not, even if you are picking from the road, if you are picking the front body gate, they will still come and harass you. If you have somebody, okay, for instance, somebody travel all the way from Benue to Makurdi Makurdi to Abuja, for instance, and stop by Benue Links Park, and then the person requested you to come and pick him. By the time you try to pull over there, those guys will jump into your car. You say, I'm not picking anybody from road, I'm going to the park. They will see, even last week, as I'm telling you, I have a friend that they harassed over 5 hours. I have to call a friend who is the police officer. That one too was not around, you have to call another person. And then the person go there to intervene and all that. This thing happen every day. When I register officially with Uber, and with Bolt, and every trip that I make every day, every second, Both take 20% of that amount. And we are made to understand that it's a certain percentage that both remits to federal government and by application to AMAC and people that is in charge of transportation in Abuja. So by implication, we are paying our tax as supposed to be paid because we are not employed by both, but we are rather partner. Both provide us a platform where we can bring our car and then they inspect it and then they certify it and then you can drive for both.
All efforts to reach the regulatory bodies, including AMAC and NURTW, proved abortive as they all declined commenting on the issue on camera. In 2020, revenues generated in Africa's e-hailing industry were estimated to have reached $2.5 billion, with Nigeria accounting for around $292 million of this revenue and 15% of the continent's 48.6 million e-hailing users. This is a large market with enormous revenue to the purse of the federal government annually, and all they are clamoring for is an avenue to conduct their business legally without interference, harassment, or extortion. Chijoke Okafo, TrustTV News, Abuja.
They just concluded a two-day national conference on transportation infrastructure development in Nigeria, organized by the Nigerian Institute of Transport and Federal Ministry of Transportation, had in attendance a lot of key players in the sector. The conference is aimed at upgrading and suggesting sustainable funding for transport infrastructural development in collaboration with the private sector. Trust TV's Aisha Salihu has more.
The transportation sector is an important component of the economy and a common tool used for development of every other sector. Experts are now bothered that the sector contributes less than 5% to Nigeria's gross domestic product. This two-day national conference is premised on sustainable funding for transport development in Nigeria, towards finding alternative options to grow the sector.
Given the current economic realities, where the government sources of funding are being threatened by unstable oil revenues and the myriads of other challenges, there is need to address the nation's problems of funding transport infrastructure development head-on. In a recent report, the World Bank had observed that Nigeria requires about $14.2 billion annually to fund its infrastructure deficit.
The Minister of Finance and Minister of State for Transportation, speaking at the conference, says government's innovation through private sector financing is yielding results, but focus should be on creating more opportunities for investors, while also highlighting the achievements so far.
Interventions by the Federal Ministry of Transportation include massive construction of roads, rail lines with access roads, inland water ports, seaports, new terminals in existing ports, dry ports with access to roads and rail, the inland container depot and freight, all geared towards building a modern and efficient transportation system that guarantees sustainable socio-economic development of Nigeria.
The transport infrastructure financing allows us to deepen our domestic capital market through the issuance of medium to long-term debt instruments, which allow citizens and institutional investors to take a stake in the future growth of our economy. The issuance of Eurobonds targeted at infrastructure spending allows us to raise foreign exchange at the international capital market determined rate, but also registers Nigeria as a viable investment destination for foreign investors. We have seen businesses selecting industrial corridors to invest in, and they recover their investments through tax credits. In January 2021, Mr. President signed the Executive Order number 007 that we call the Road Infrastructure Tax Credit Scheme. This Executive Order was signed with the first batch of 19 roads, totaling about 794 kilometers, with 7 investors uptaking to build those roads with their resources.
Director General of Debt Management Office addressed the prospects of the China Belt Road Initiative towards Nigeria's transport infrastructural development.
So with China, they are very supportive of infrastructure financing. All we need to do is identify the projects. We identify the projects ourselves. The costing is also us. Once they are approved and contracts are awarded, we then begin to arrange for financing.
A concrete resolution at the meeting shows that a shift on reliance of public financing to private funding through a beneficial policy would better address transportation deficits. Aisha Salihu, TrustTV News, Abuja.
Muslims mark the 10th day of Al-Muharram in the Islamic calendar as the Ashura Day, a day when Prophet Moses was saved. Imam Shuaibu is an Islamic scholar who speaks on the significance of this day.
We are all aware today is the 10th of Muharram, 1443 years after the hijrah of the Prophet ﷺ from Makkah to Medina. And this is the day we mark the fasting of Ashura. Ashura has history in Islam, and it dates back to when the Prophet ﷺ migrated from Makkah to Medina, and he met the Jews observing this day, observing fasting on the 10th day of Muharram, and he inquired, why do they fast? And they said, this is the day Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved Musa and his followers, Prophet Musa and his followers, from the plots of Fir'aun. And so they are marking that day to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by fasting. And then the Prophet ﷺ said, Muslims are more entitled to Prophet Musa ﷺ than the Jews. So on this day, Muslims are expected to fast. The Prophet ﷺ fasted on the 10th day of Muharram, Ashura, and he said he hopes that this fasting will expiate sin for the previous years. And he also promised that next year he's going to fast on the day of Ashura and Taswa, that is the 9th and the 10th of Muharram. And as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will have it, he couldn't survive beyond that year. So it became sunnah for Muslims all over the world to fast on the day of Taswa and Ashura. That is
in business, Nigeria's inflation rate fell for the 4th consecutive month by 0.37% in July amid increase in food prices, according to the National Bureau of Statistics. This implies that food prices continued to rise in July 2021, but at a slower speed than it did in June 2021. TrustTV's Nafisa Abdul Al checks on the situation in the market.
Amidst high rise of unemployment and insecurity in Nigeria, the inflation rate has dropped consecutively the last 4 months. Ibrahim Shaleng, a finance expert, gives some insight on the cause and effects of the drop in inflation rate.
It's not essentially saying that inflation has gone down. What it's saying is that the rate that inflation has been spiking has reduced. So, the average man on the street will certainly tell you that they're feeling the pinch of food prices going up and other prices going up. So it's certainly not an indication that things are getting better. It should also be put in context that the consumer price index does not necessarily measure things like substitute goods, or people simply not being able to afford the goods, the basket of goods that people are, that the CPI normally measures. So, it's important to put statistical analysis into context.
Checks across some markets in the FCT show that despite the drop in inflation rates, prices of foodstuff are still on the rise. Some traders in Abuja confirm massive increases in the prices of some commodities.
A lot of increase in the buying of in the rice business now. Like, we can't even just imagine it. It's not increase that we bought it that expensive, but how customers react over it, that's the problem you are facing in the business, because there is a lot of increases that the Nigerians can't even afford that much again.
In sports, a first corona case has been detected in the Paralympic village days before the games open, organizers say on Thursday, as Japan battles a record wave of infections. The case involves a games-related member of staff who is not resident in Japan, according to organizers who did not give further details. Organizers have so far reported 74 cases linked to the Paralympics, mostly among contractors and games staff who live in Japan. Another 6 cases have been reported by local areas hosting teams for training camps. Finally, Nigeria's under-19 volleyball team coach Sani Muhammad has released a final 12-man list for the 2021 FIBA Under-19 Boys World Championship. The tournament will take place in Iran from 24th August to 4th September 2021, and Nigeria is grouped with Iran, Poland, and Guatemala. Coach Muhammad revealed that the team's objectives is to surpass their previous 14th position at the 2019 World Championship in Tunisia. To finalize their preparations, the team played warm-up games against Kaduna and Abuja selected teams. They will depart the country on Thursday from the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja. And that brings us to the end of Trust TV News Updates today. Don't forget to follow us across our social media platforms. I am Dashan Hussaina Usman. Thanks for watching.